This is Late Night. We hope you're doing well. And now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. During yesterday's press conference announcing that he will take control of Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department and deploy National Guard troops, President Trump said that he wanted residents to feel safe going to the store to buy a newspaper. You think I need to go to the store to buy a newspaper? Is that right after my milk gets delivered? During the same press conference, President Trump also discussed his upcoming summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin and said, quote, "I think it will be good, but it might be bad. Only Trump talks about a peace summit like it's a new Marvel movie. Look, they got Chris Evans back, and worst case scenario, the place has AC." In a post last week on Truth Social, President Trump promoted a book about his assassination attempt and misspelled the author's name, but don't take it personally. He also misspelled his wife's name. At this point, we should be glad he can manage his own. Oh, right, can't do that either. That's right, President Trump promoted a book titled Butler, The Untold Story of the Near Assassination of Donald Trump and the Fight for America's Heartland, and misspelled the author's name. To be fair, his thumbs were probably pretty worn out after typing that title. In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump said that Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has a low IQ and added that she should be, quote, forced to take a cognitive exam, much like the one I recently took while getting my physical at our great Washington, D.C. military hospital. Do you mean Walter Reed? There's nothing quite like bragging about your cognitive ability as you forget the name of the famous place where you took your dementia test. Walt something. Walt Disney. That's right, President Trump said that Democratic politicians should be forced to take a cognitive exam like he did, and added that his doctor said, quote, President Trump aced it, something that is rarely seen. Okay, again, this is the test. That's what the test was. It is a test to make sure you don't have brain damage. It's the written version of a boxing referee holding up 3 fingers. He doesn't do that if you seem fine. During a meeting last week with business leaders, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo likened his relationship with President Trump to a, quote, dysfunctional marriage. Well, you know, what's one more? Former President Joe Biden reportedly visited Double Dipper's ice cream shop over the weekend in Delaware and got a large waffle cone with vanilla soft serve. Incidentally, Joe Biden eating vanilla in Delaware is the color I want for the guest bathroom. A Florida family was recently reunited with their dog more than 6 years after they were separated. Wow, and right after they'd finally finished vacuuming. Firefighters were recently called to a California Chuck E. Cheese after an adult woman got her arm stuck in one of the arcade games. Even more embarrassing, she was there without kids. She just likes their pizza. That's right, firefighters were recently called to a California Chuck E. Cheese after an adult woman got her arm stuck in one of the arcade games. The firefighter who successfully got her out got to choose any item from the bottom 3 shelves. And that was a monologue, everybody. We have started our show. It has begun. We got a great one for you tonight. She's an Emmy-nominated actress and director, you know, from Big Little Lies, The Studio, The Batman, and Mad Max Fury Road. Her latest, Caught Stealing, is in theaters August 29th. Zoe Kravitz is here tonight, everybody. You know her from Vanderpump Rules and is the host of Love Island USA. The Season 7 reunion premieres August 25th on Peacock's. Ariana Madix is also joining us, and he is a restaurateur and chef who will be featured at the 2025 U.S. Open. We will be cooking with Chef Josh Capon. We got a great show. Also, Bob Odenkirk chatted with Josh and I, so give that a listen as well. All right, moving on, you guys. It is August. Everyone is getting ready for preseason football, back-to-school shopping. That includes my writers. You know, they write hundreds of jokes every day just to get the 10 or 12 we use in the monologue. And honestly, a lot of those jokes just aren't good. Sometimes I think they they throw in a few stinkers on purpose just to fill the page. You know, meet the assignment. But just because CVS has already got Halloween candy out, that doesn't mean we can tolerate laziness, which means it's time for surprise inspection. All right, here's how this works. I'm going to read some real jokes that were really submitted by my writers. Some are dumb, some are offensive, some are just insane. Most importantly, my writers don't know we're doing this, and because they don't watch the show, they'll never know. Let's get started. A 27-year-old alpaca in New Zealand was recently awarded the Guinness World Record for oldest alpaca. Even cooler, he'll be starring in the upcoming season of The Golden Alpatchler. That was written by Matt. And it went better than I thought it would. Matt's going to probably take it up with me later that should have been in the main monologue. But here's the thing. That's the best one of these. By a far. Former Vice President Kamala Harris announced last week that she is writing a book about her 2024 presidential campaign, which she called, quote, the shortest presidential campaign in modern history. Second shortest, if you count Dennis Kucinich. So this joke required a lot of you remembering Ohio Congressman Dennis Kucinich and his brief presidential run. And Brian over here rolled the dice. And they came up snake eyes. It's a real bummer for Brian that he's in a far second place to the Golden Alpatchler. That's usually the kind of joke Brian writes. Brian's not actually a real person. We just asked AI what a dad joke would look like if it was a person. According to a new ranking, Dollywood in Tennessee is the best amusement park in the country, and coming in last, Chesneyland. So this is fun. If we add up the laughs for Brian's last two jokes and divide by 2, the average is 0. All right, but here's the thing. Matt and Brian are, at their hearts, good people. The next joke was written by Mike Scollins, who's a bad person. This isn't his last joke, but it's his first one, and we put the least bad one first. So just know that if there are more from Mike Scollins, they will be worse than this one. And again, he's a bad guy. And as you can tell from the picture, the joke's about Amelia Earhart. So if you don't think you're gonna like it, make like Amelia and get lost. I own that one. I own that one. Today would have been pilot Amelia Earhart's 128th birthday if she'd just asked a guy for directions. See? If you're wondering why his photo is different, Mike once wore a tank top to work, and we're never going to let him forget it. Who's this next one by, Wally? Let's see. Who's... Okay, there we go. Ugh. I'm sorry. I apologize. By the way, I could also choose not to do these here, but, like, I need to... Part of this is the public shaming, right? It only has weight. Like, I could say to the writer, you know how an audience would react if I said that? And a lot of times they're like, I think good. So I need to do this. And I apologize. You came here for a comedy show, and instead you're teaching a lesson. And that's not fun, but, you know, you're helping future audiences. According to a new report from the Wall Street Journal, Jeffrey Epstein's so-called birthday book includes notes from fashion designer Vera Wang and former President Bill Clinton, who also had a Wang that would Vera. Looks like somebody spent all their Alpatchler goodwill. But in his defense, that is an expression we all use, right? Somebody's got a Wang that would Vera. That's why the joke works. It's a common expression. All right. Brian's up again. Let's see if Brian can get his first laugh of the night. Authorities in Idaho recently launched a 3-hour search of the Blackfoot River for a reported body and discovered it was actually a life-size sex doll. finally giving her loved ones some closure. And Brian has bowled a turkey. Somebody put up the gutter guards for Brian. All right, so this next thing, sometimes I think there are stories in the news that are like just written by monologue writers so they can then write a joke about it. Like, for example, this is a joke about a snake that is called a loose ball python. Well, it's actually called a ball python, and it got loose. Anyway, if you're a comedy writer and you see that, you're like, ooh. Authorities in Massachusetts have warned residents of Somerville to be on the lookout for a loose ball python, and for local men over 50 to maybe wear a jockstrap until the coast is clear. Ready for a shocker? Allie. Allie shows up with an observation about men over 50. By the way, I'm over 50, and like, they're not what they once were, but I don't think they're so low a snake could get them. Good news. There's literally back-to-back stories about a loose reptile. Animal control officers in Massachusetts are looking for a loose monitor lizard. Yeah, me too, said this sleazy guy. Look who's back, baby. Look who's back. We believed in you. All right. You will not, probably within a week to 10 days, get a written apology from me. The Indiana Fever Los Angeles Sparks game yesterday was briefly paused after someone threw a dildo onto the court. Said fans, take it to the hole! To be fair, a woman wrote that joke. Oh, it was Scollins, never mind. I'm sorry. I thought it might be Allie. All right, Scollins going to take us home as well. Last joke. You've done a wonderful job. I think by the way, they're all watching this right now being like, these were all good. And finally, the fast food chain Subway named a new CEO, and let's just say cancel culture is officially over. You guys, this has been a surprise inspection. We'll be right back with Zoe Kravitz.